What's up, witches? It's February. It already feels louder than it has in January. So if you're feeling
Mhm.
more emotionally charged, you're not imagining it. This is not a gentle month. This is not a reset or a rest kind of season. February is going to be a threshold month. We're going to be moving from the end of the Chinese New Year snake, and we're going to be moving into the fire horse. It truly is a doorway between worlds. The old rhythms are collapsing and the new ones haven't been fully developed yet. If you're trying to move the way you did last year, your nervous system is not going to like it. It's going to revolt. Today, we're going to go deep into how to work with February's energy, not against it, so you don't burn out, spiral, and sabotage what's trying to be born. Because this month isn't asking you to push harder, it's asking you to move differently. Let's begin. Peace out, witches.
Welcome to Peace Out Witches, where divine feminine magic meets your sacred business mastermind. We're your hosts, Jamie and Stacy, here to help you ditch the pressure, reclaim your peace, and step into your natural flow.
So, witches.
I'm already feeling it. I'm already feeling it.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Mm,
definitely some crazy things going on, not only in just like our world in general, but in the planetary energies that have been
mm,
moving. I first think that it's really important when we are talking about planetary movement and how it moves and how it affects
mhm,
the energy of the month, that we talk a little bit about how these planets actually move. There are certain planets that move a little slower and certain planets that move a little quicker. And so when we are looking at the planets and how they are aligned or not aligned in astrology, we are looking at where they are in the stars and where they are aligning underneath what we consider like the horoscopes. Okay. And so, that's often talking about these things like Libra and Leo and Pisces and Aquarius. But then we're also having to look at the bigger picture because something like Mercury is moving every 87 days. Every 87 days, it has rotated completely around the planet. So that means that, we are going to be hitting either Mercury forward or Mercury retrograde 2 to 3 times a year. Whereas a planet like Venus is only moving 224 days.
mhm.
So really, we're only hitting that Venus, being out and being underground about once a year. We're not going to be hitting those Venus underground or those Venus coming out several times a year. And Venus is the planet that oftentimes rules women and the divine feminine. So it is a really good planet to be looking at from month to month to see where it's at and what's going on, because it is one of the planets that rules a lot of how the divine feminine works and a lot of our emotions and energies and things that we're carrying through the month. Earth has a rotation of 365 days. And then we come into some of the planets that take a much longer to rotate. So Mars is 2 years, Jupiter is 11 years. So every 11 years, Jupiter is going to be coming into your own astrological sign. Then we've got Saturn at 29 years. That means that you might not have Saturn in your sign for 30 years. That means you might not be dealing with the energies of Saturn within your own sign, but once every 30 years. And then we have Uranus, which is 84 years, and Neptune, which is 164 years. So,
Mhm.
just to give a quick example of how this works, Libras last year had I believe it was Uranus kind of come into their astrology. And so for many Libras, it was this last year was really like a shedding for them. And then it was a big development and opening within their spiritual realm because that was something that hadn't happened in Libra for 84 years. So for me,
Mhm.
I'm 43 years old. That's not something that had ever happened in my lifetime yet. And
Mhm.
as it opened up into my lifetime, being a Libra, it opened up certain things within my astrology, within my houses, within my own personal journey that, allowed me to grow in certain ways. So It is really important to understand your own personal astrology.
Mm-hmm.
One of the great websites I like is Astrology Cafe. You can go on their website, you can put your birthday in, and it will pull up your private astrology. It's a circle, it's going to have all kinds of lines in the circle. Um, to give you an example, I am a Libra. When you pull up my astrology, I'm literally missing almost 7 houses in my astrology that do not have a planet in them when I was born. When I was born, um, it is a circle when you receive it, and my circle is completely on one side. One side of the circle, which is half of my houses, has no planetary alignments in them whatsoever when I was born. And then the other half is where I was born. And so I have a lot of planetary alignments that are actually in Libra. Like when you look at
Mm-hmm.
my astrology, my personal astrology, I've got like 4 or 5 planets that were in Libra in that house. And so, that means that there's going to be certain things that I'm going to feel and express during certain times that others aren't just because of my personal
Mm-hmm.
astrology. So, we at Peace Out Witches usually talk about the monthly flow and the monthly energy. That's going to be more general for like our world where we're at, especially in the United States, because that's currently where we're at. But we're not normally talking about some of those personal things that are going to be affecting you, shifting you, and ultimately changing parts of the collective based on your own personal astrology in your houses. So I would recommend checking those out because as those planets move through the different houses in your own astrology, it's going to affect your year or different years for you differently. Some will be focused on um, movement of finances. Some will be focused on movement
Mm-hmm.
of love. Some will be focused on, building your worth, different things like that. So it really is a personal journey, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody's astrology is the same, even if you're born on the same day, because you might be born at different hours, different times. And while a planet might take 164 years to move through, it is still on a constant movement. So that means that there is still things that are going to be different in your planetary alignments and your personal astrology than in somebody else's.
And it's just another way to know more about yourself. So if you
Yeah.
haven't done it, we totally recommend it. Human design, pull your chart, anything that will allow you to understand yourself more deeply. All of the things, if you're seeking information about energies of the month, energies of the year, energies of your astrological sign, that's great. But if you have your chart, your astrological chart, and your human design chart, and know who you are in those ways, it will make more sense. The things that people tell you, the energies that they're conveying to you will make more sense personally to you, and it just gives you more empowerment and more flow in your life if you understand how you operate and how to work with those energies related to you. So that's why this is so important, and why we push people to learn more about themselves that way.
And astrology is just one piece of it.
Yeah.
One of the things that we've talked about oftentimes on this podcast specifically is human design.
Yeah.
Human design is something that takes your chi, your astrology, and
Kabbalah.
um, and what?
And Kabbalah.
And Kabbalah all in one and gives you what's called human design. So, I personally like to go down the rabbit hill of each of those separately. I like to
Mhm,
understand what my chi energy is. What are my gates in chi? Why do they matter? I like to understand my astrology, what my little circle looks like, where planets are in my houses,
mhm,
what is my personal journey. I like to look at my Chinese astrology. I
me
personally am a
too.
dog. My husband's a monkey. And it actually leads to a lot of the ways that we communicate and move in the world. And
Mhm,
then there is astrology, whether you're
mhm,
Libra, Aquarius, Leo. And then there is also the Kabbalah, and then there is also human design. And again,
mhm,
human design kind of pulls them all together. But
mhm,
I feel like when you understand the nuances of each of the pieces, it's really
mhm.
easier to understand human design because you understand kind
It
of how they
does.
pull together
Take it
all of those
easy.
things. Um,
And then
so,
you understand yourself more, because each one stacks upon each other, and there's aha moments for each one of those charts. for yourself when you learn about yourself. And it's amazing how they connect and how they really do influence who you are as a person, especially if you are a divine feminine student of the mysteries, and you're especially in that crone era or coming into it. It really does explain a lot, and it gives you a lot of empowerment tools in order to navigate some of the rockier moments during that transition, and then understanding maybe what your life purpose is if you didn't discover it early on. So it's just really, really enlightening.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to run a business,
Yeah.
or you are on a journey of self-healing, there's a
Mhm.
lot of information that you can find for these things about yourself. In human design specifically, there are certain human designs that kind of do what we call coming off the roof at
Mhm.
certain ages. And so there's just a lot that you can learn about yourself. The rabbit hole is deep, okay? The rabbit hole is
It
deep when it
is.
comes to learning
Mhm.
astrology. It's deep when it comes to learning human design. And if you're really excited and interested in learning things like that, but you are really wanting to go more down a private down a hole, and you want someone to help you along the way who's actually studied and knows those kinds of things, we do those in our one-on-one coaching sessions.
Mhm.
We will do human design readings, astrology readings, chi, different things like that, along with tarot readings and coaching. So, when we guide and coach women, we're often working off of a lot of different modalities that we're bringing to those coaching sessions,
Mhm.
those one-on-one sessions. So, let's talk a little bit about why February is going to feel so intense, and why the first half of February may feel more intense than the second half
Mhm.
of February. Um, so, first off, we don't move into the Chinese New Year until the full moon. I'm sorry,
The new
until the
moon.
new moon, and
Mhm.
that is going to be on February 17th.
Mhm.
So between now and February 17th, we are still in the last parts of the shedding of the wood snake. And the wood snake was really meant to fuel the fire horse.
Mhm.
Many people all over are talking all about the fire horse. Let's jump on the fire horse. We're so excited about the fire horse. But what they're not realizing is that we are still in this last part of emotional and structural change in order to really allow that fire horse to start off running.
Mhm.
And in Chinese New Year belief, there are elements and the way that we move through the elements. So each year on the Chinese New Year is aligned with a specific element, and that element doesn't change based on the animals. That element actually changes based on what the year is ending in. So, for example, in 2025 and 2024, we were in the element of wood. In
Mhm.
2000 and 2001, or in 2020 and 2021, we were in the year of metal, the element of metal. And then we move into the element of water when the year ends in 2 or 3. So 2002, 2003, 2022, 2023, those would be in the element of water. The element of wood is years that end in 4 and 5. The element of fire is years that end in 6 and 7. And then the element of earth is years that end in 8 and 9.
Mhm.
Now, when we're looking at the elements of the Chinese New Year, they interact through two different cycles. One interacts through a nourishing cycle. For example, water is going to turn off wood, right? It's going to fuel the wood to grow. Okay, so when we're putting water before wood, we're going to fuel the wood to grow. When we have what we've had now, where we've been in a wood cycle for the last 2 years, that wood, you can kind of think of it like we have been preparing, cutting, and prepping the wood to then put on the fire.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of us are really feeling that stacking cosmic energy right now
Mhm.
because we've been adding all this wood to the fire. We've been
Mhm.
seeing all over our world and country, patterns surfacing that are no longer working for us, and they're blowing up. They're blowing up in our faces. They're blowing up in ways that are very easy to see. I mean, we can clearly see that there is war and there
Mhm.
is, things that are blowing up, and we can see clearly, we can feel clearly the energy of understanding that I just feel ick right now. I just don't like what's going on right now. I just feel heavy right now. And it's
Well, and
because
I
of that.
and I also believe that we're still in that last shedding of the snake. And I truly believe that last bit is the hardest. It's the hardest to shake loose. And if you're resisting the change that comes with the shedding, then it's going to feel harder. It's going to feel heavy and it's going to feel ick. And if you allow it, it's still going to have those feelings, but you're going to, shimmy it off quicker. And
Hmm.
this last bit of the snake is the most intense. It's those pieces of us that are the hardest to release. It's those patterns and habits and behaviors and just those pieces that maybe feel the most stuck in our lives, in our personality, and in our being, that we're just not fully ready to let go of, but we are ready. And so if you're feeling any of those energies right now personally, allow it to happen. Allow the ahas to come. Allow the consciousness to show you exactly where you need to let go and release and change. And when we shed the skin, we become something new. So we're releasing, but we're not looking back at what we shed. Because when we
Mm.
look back at what we shed, we're re-engaging it. So find ways to fill in what's been released with something new and make a conscious effort to do that, whatever that is. It could look like a goal or many goals. It could look like a new routine that, or yeah, a routine or a ritual that allows you to fill your cup as opposed to what you did before. So this is very important during this time because once we get into the fire horse energy and it takes off running, we don't want it to catch fire. We don't want it to burn down. We don't want to burn out. And we do not want to feel it stumbling along the way. We want it to have a smooth path of and the energy behind it to run and to create and to manifest.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of can think of it like, you know, did you spend the year building a huge pyramid of wood and you're just going to light the fuck on fire? Or did you spend the year stacking this pile and then stacking this pile and kind of making a long pile of wood so that the fire can burn steadily? And
Hmm.
that's part of the problem with jumping into the fire horse too quick, is if you jump into the
Hmm.
fire horse too quick, it will burn you down. And
Hmm.
so, there's that cycle of the two interacting with each other and supporting each
Hmm.
other and nourishing each other. And then there's also the cycle of the two trying to control each other.
Yeah.
That controlling aspect of, if I can control the fire, I can
Hmm.
stay warm all winter long. But
Hmm.
if I can't control the fire, then I'm going to let it burn. I'm going to burn my whole forest down. And
Hmm.
it's going to burn quick.
It's going
It's
to burn
not
too
going to
quickly.
it's not going to
Yeah.
be like I burnt my whole forest down and I was warm for 6 months. No, you burnt that whole forest down in 3 days
Hmm.
and now you've got no fuel left. So it's really important to just energetically and ritually um, clear your spaces. This is a great
Hmm.
time to be finishing that last part of the shedding. So, looking around, I know we say this a lot on this podcast, but your sacred space is one of the
Hmm.
most important things. When your space is sacred, your mind is sacred. So,
Hmm.
this is a great time to look around and see if there's anything else that needs to be cleared or shed, released,
Hmm.
just let go of, so that you can kind of come into this next best
Hmm.
year and life for yourself.
And be completely aligned with what's coming because the fire horse energy is that fast, bold, intuitive, unstoppable. And being ready for it and aligned with the energies that are coming for the next year mean clearing the path. So clearing the path for us here at Peace Out Witches and Peace Not Perfection is clearing our space, tidying up loose ends, preparing, making sure that we have what we need to support us during the next year. and being ready for it and mentally, emotionally, and physically prepared.
Yeah. So we've got some really cool things that are going to be going on. We've got Imbolc coming up. So
Hmm.
Imbolc is, part of the wheel of the year. It's one of the things that we do to celebrate the coming of spring, and it is the halfway point between winter solstice and spring equinox. So
Yeah.
now, we usually celebrate this around February 1st, although in ancient times, they would usually celebrate Imbolc at the first sign of a flower popping up.
Hmm.
Now, currently, Jamie and I live in Missouri. We still have snow outside. We just got this crazy
Hmm.
big snowstorm. We obviously, today is January 28th. So February 1st for us is going to be on Sunday. And
Hmm.
we don't have any flowers popping up yet. This would
Mm-mm.
not really be the best time to celebrate Brigid or Imbolc in that aspect of spring coming. But what it does mean is that our sun is no longer going to be this long period of winter. When we get to February 1st in Imbolc, we're moving to longer and longer days of sunshine. So, we're not moving from winter solstice where we had exactly the longest night of the year. We're
Hmm.
actually moving back to coming into that spring equinox where we're going to have more sunshine. So, this means that we're still warm teas, keeping our feet warm,
Candles.
socks, candles, lots of
Uh-huh.
ways to be able to celebrate calling in the light, but understanding
Mhm.
that we are still not living in the light yet. So we're calling in the light with Imbolc. We are celebrating what is to come, and we are looking forward to that. One of the other things that's often celebrated during this time is Candlemas, which is when all the churches will replace their candles. In our witchy traditions, this is a great time to make candle magic. If you like to make candles, roll candles, anything like
I was
that,
just going to say that. Hmm.
yeah, great time to like.
Fire.
We homeschool, so we get our kids involved in making candles. This is usually
Hmm.
when my kids and I will make beeswax candles, or we'll decorate candles, and we'll do different things like that. And
Hmm.
then I also will usually go through my house, and if there's any candles that we haven't fully burned, I will go ahead and burn those candles fully out and let them release as they have done their service for us for the year. And it's a great time to kind of refresh spaces. If you carry an altar or hold an altar in your house, it's also a great time to refresh the altar, see what on there maybe doesn't serve you anymore. What are you needing to release from winter? And what are you going to be calling in as this light comes in this springtime? So it's a great time to look at that altar and be able to see, is there any magic I need to clear from it? And is there any new magic that you're calling in and wanting to work with at this time?
I like to bring in flowers too. So if you do go to the store and you see fresh, beautiful flowers that look like spring or um, are bright lights, like I personally like the spring flowers that come in around now, which are like yellows and they're white and they're pink. And so I'll bring those into my altar and just start to bring call in spring into my space.
Hmm.
I think that's why people love to decorate for Easter because it's those pastel colors. It's just a, excuse me, calling in the beauty of spring and honoring it because it is coming, and it does brighten your mood. It becomes for me a way to kind of theme February because I don't necessarily celebrate Valentine's Day. So for me, February can kind of seem like a dull month energetically. And so this is when I start bringing in spring and the colors of spring and I refresh my space. This is the time when I actually do my spring cleaning. And this is the time when I start thinking about my vision board and planning my goals for the year, not quite solidifying them, but then having a kind of a understanding of what I want to create in the next months.
Well, and February is still very cold, especially if you're in
Uh-huh.
some of the cold states. So
Yeah,
it really is still a inward magical time. It
it
is a
is.
time when like Jamie's talking about spring cleaning, but I'm also thinking
I
like this
do.
isn't the time when you are spring cleaning your whole house, really. This is a
Mhm,
time when you're like sitting by the fire,
mhm,
reading the book,
mhm,
journaling, dreaming. This is still your
mhm,
dream time. I mean,
mhm,
I know in the world, oh, we had the new year in January and stuff like that, but the lunar
mhm,
new year on February 7th, that's really the beginning of the year. That's
mhm.
still a calling in time. You're looking at like March 1st for, okay, now I'm going to start pushing these outward things that I called in February. And if you spent the time in February, if you spent the time in February dreaming and journaling and prepping, even spring cleaning your house and things like that, March is going to be much easier for you. And that fire horse is really going to take off from the gate quickly because of all the preparation you've done. If you spent January pushing through, and you spent February pushing through and not giving yourself this quiet time and this time without feeling overstimulated, without being exhausted, if you're giving yourself this time to recalibrate, like the earth is recalibrating, then you're not going to feel exhausted. You kind of can think of it like the fuel for the year.
It is. You're building the fuel for the year.
Yeah, it's
Don't
really important.
don't release that fuel in January and February by excuse me. I have a little cold. By pushing the agenda of your goals for the year and burning out by the end of January because you spent all the month of January trying to sustain energy that you didn't have to begin with because you're supposed to be dreaming, writing, journaling, cleaning up, tidying your emotional field, tidying up your aura, pieces of your aura that maybe you didn't tend to, which is usually our emotional part of our aura that needed tending to. And if you're pushing through, cleansing, starting a new routine, no, this is not the time. Not even February. Don't even try it in February. Do what you're called to do. If you feel called, do it. But the amount of prep you're doing in February that would actually sustain for the rest of the year is just tidying up your space, donating, um, you know, redoing your wardrobe, just moving it around, seeing what works and what doesn't work for you, cleaning your altar, cleaning your floors, ceilings and floors, cobwebs in the corners. Those kind of simple practices are a lot. They shift the energy in your house a lot.
Well, and one of the ways that I like to do that is I like to just pick a room a week.
Yeah,
Or a room
me
every
too.
2 weeks, even so that I don't burn myself out too much.
Yeah.
And then I'll just go in that room and I will treat it like I'm going to be selling my house. So I will do everything I need to do in that room for
Mhm.
someone to be able to walk through and see how amazing it is. And so
Mhm.
that means going through all the drawers and cupboards and closets and like Jamie said, the corners, the cobwebs, the fans, all the things.
Mhm.
This is also a time when we're feeling the bubbling. We're feeling the shift of all the planetary energies that are going on. We've had this planetary shift into the age of Aquarius. And the age of Aquarius is exciting, but it's also enlightening. It's lighting up all these things that maybe we haven't been dealing with or we've been hidden. And so while it is a time for us to rise into the new earth and be really living in this new existence that we're all creating together, it's also shining a light on the things that we're not going to want to carry with us any further,
Mhm.
personally and collectively.
Mhm.
And really, the energies, I mean, they're hugely supported right now for this outward motion of clearing away. And
Mhm.
what I mean by that is February 1st, we move into a full moon. It is the snow moon, and it's in Leo. So let's talk about Leo. Leo is the lion. Leo is, the king of the jungle. Leo is big and loud and
Mhm.
loving and kind and has a big heart. And that big heart
Mhm.
capacity is able to really look at things and with a loving, joyful heart say, thank you for serving me. I know. Thank you for being there. I no longer need this. And so it allows for us to be able to take a good look at things without judging
Judgment.
them too harshly. What else does Leo bring?
Leo brings passion and intensity, and coming into the fire horse, we are headed right into that passion and intensity. So you get like a bubbling up of it. And so for the full moon, the wolf or the snow moon, this is a good time to, you know, where in your life are you putting your energy that doesn't align with your passionate purpose or passions, and where you feel most lit up. So like really reflecting on those pieces for the month of February, actually, because it's going to set you up for the lunar new year as well, and it's going to set you up for March when you're headed planting the seeds of your desires and dreams. So where am I spending too much energy on something that isn't lighting me up anymore? Or maybe I've just pushed too hard there, but I need to retract a little and give it time to gestate, because sometimes we push, push, push in a direction and we hit a wall, hit a wall, hit a wall, and we keep doing it. And maybe we just need to step back for a minute and allow life to catch up with it and do its
Recalibrate.
processes. Yeah. And so that's the piece that's really what we want to look at with Leo energies too, because Leos can be very intense, but it can also be if you use that intensity in the correct way, you're going to be able to connect more and realign yourself with whatever it is you're passionate with. So if that looks like, man, I really pushed myself in January and I'm feeling so burnt out. So an example would be, well, maybe this month or in the next few weeks, pull back from those things that burnt you out in January and start finding things that are going to lift you up more. And it could mean slowing down, reading a book, cozy afternoons, drinking hot liquids and relaxing and not worrying about clearing out our houses or clearing the space, because for some of us, that sounds too intense because we spent too much time going in January trying to hit our goals hard and burning out because there was no energy to support it. So pulling back, pulling back the intensity towards the things that weren't ready to happen for you.
Yeah.
And
Stop it.
she wants to be part of it.
I know. Mm. So we on February 1st have the snow moon. So, reminder, it's called the snow moon. Okay.
Uh-huh.
When it's snowing or cold outside, we're not prepping the land. Okay. The snow has to melt for the land to get prepped. So, if you prepped your land good before the snow will come and heal the land, give it what it needs, and when the snow
Mhm,
releases, your land will be ready to plant the seeds that you want to
mhm,
plant. And
mhm.
so, as we come into the middle of February, depending on where you live, it's that good time to start planting the seeds and really start calling in, that stuff from the fire horse. Now, this particular new moon that we have on February 17th, that is also the Lunar New Year, is actually a rare occasion because we also have
So,
an eclipse going on.
mhm.
And eclipses are going to bring the shadowy side of what's going on. So when we are in the new moon on February 17th, we are still moving through Aquarius and we're celebrating the start of the fire horse. So fire horse is going to start off running. You can kind of think on February 17th, he is in the cage ready to run the race. Now, the eclipse is going to kind of hold that gate door shut a little longer. So you can kind of imagine that the fire horse is going to be in the gate breathing. He's going to
Dancing.
be hitting his thing on the floor, right? He's ready to go, but he can't go
Mhm,
yet. The gate is still
mhm,
shut. And even
mhm.
though we're like, "Yay, fire horse has started!"
Yeah.
No, the race hasn't started yet. The bell has not went off
Yeah,
because that
aligned.
eclipse
Mhm,
is saying, "Wait a
mhm,
minute, hold up. You still have a few more shadowy things here that you need to look over. This is not a great time for calling in your goals and magic. Eclipses are not when we want to call in all the magical things. Eclipses are when we want to, with the eclipse, take a good solid look at what's going on so that we can call in what we're calling in.
mhm.
The eclipse is kind of shining light to the shedding.
I really like to think of an eclipse as a, so you have this journey of your life and you're thinking, okay, what role am I here to serve? Like what is my sole purpose here? And we're working these processes. I think many people on this journey that we're on and that we talk about, are wanting to live their soul purpose. And that's
Mhm.
exactly what they're constantly thinking about doing, learning about. And when the eclipse comes, it's more like the question shifts to, what are the pieces that are holding me back from that?
Mhm.
What is the block? Where are the blocks that are keeping me from that?
Yeah.
And so that's a better question to ask during that solar eclipse, as opposed to, what am I here to do?
Mm.
Where am I being held back? Where am I needing to tidy up? Where am I mentally, emotionally, and physically needing to tend to in order to get on my life's goals and purposes? And so that's
Yeah.
how to use that energy.
And this eclipse is really powerful. I mean, it is a powerful eclipse partly because we're pulling
Mhm.
into the fire horse. It's a
Yeah.
powerful eclipse because we're coming off of this snow full moon and this clarity when, we're moving through this last shedding of the snake into the fire horse.
Hmm.
And we're really fueling the emotional and structural change that happened during the snake for it
Hmm.
to come through. Like, if I make all of this emotional and structural change,
Hmm.
it doesn't mean I'm going to see the gifts of my labor right away. It means that I've
No.
opened up the space for my gifts of labor to come in, to be
Hmm.
shown. And so it really is kind of
Hmm.
you're kind of still holding on to the horse. You're ready to go, but you haven't quite kicked him into go yet. And everybody on social media is going to tell you, run with the horse, time to go, yay, yay, yay. I want you to just remember to take a deep breath and breathe for at least a week when the Lunar
It's
New
so
Year
annoying.
comes. Journal for at least a week when the Lunar New Year
Right.
comes.
What's
Use the
coming up?
energy of this eclipse and this
Hmm.
fire horse to determine what are the final things that are coming up in your
Hmm.
patterns, relationships, businesses that are no longer working. Journal about them, let them go, and
Hmm.
allow that alignment to finish up. Because as of February 21st to February 28th, we're going to be past that eclipse energy and we're actually moving into an alignment of Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. This is going to align everything for your year. You want to talk about collective change, the shift in like the things that are possible. This 7 planet alignment is really going to help bring in a lot of those manifestations and things that you have been dreaming about. It is going to amplify what it is that you're calling in if you did the work before the alignment.
Because it's going to amplify what you need to work on if you haven't done the work. So pay attention right now. Now's the time to be an observer of the messages that are coming to you, the patterns that are
Mm-hmm.
reoccurring, the showing up that's happening, um, the hooks, the places where you get triggered the most are the ones that you really need to pay attention to right now to clean up the energy around. And how do we clean it up? We process it by what is underneath that. Why am I so triggered by this thing that I'm just raging over? We stop the pattern midstream. We recognize it, we stop it, and we redirect ourselves, because it's a habit. For some of us, it's not even a real trigger anymore. It's just habitual. So these are some of the ways that we can understand what's being shown to us. Because if we're constantly seeking the high of the light and going from one program to the next program, or one healer to the next healer, or one whatever, right? Or meditating our way out of it, doesn't work if you're not looking at where you're being triggered. You cannot meditate your way out of your triggers. You have to change the habit. It becomes a habit over time. Just
Mm-hmm.
change it,
Mm-hmm.
recognize it, observe it, and then change it.
Yeah. And, I mean, we've got a lot of opportunities in Peace Not Perfection Academy. That is our bigger company that Peace Out Witches comes from. And one of the reasons that in our academy we have our Priestess path, which is 13 months, and we do it in 13 months because we believe it's important to agree to something. I'm going to agree to do this life-changing thing for 13 months.
Mm-hmm.
We also believe that it's really important to have a container that is going to hold you for a certain amount of time. And a lot of times there are programs out there where you're getting certifications or you're learning things, but it's a 3-week thing or a 3-day thing. And really, it's about bringing up all of this positivity, light, energy, all this great, beautiful thing, and then it's done. Our program is very different in that way because we are working in both the shadow and light. We're going to pull out the shadow. We're going to use the light to clear it. We're going to pull out the shadow. We're going to use the light to clear it. And then we're going to make big changes that allow us to move forward and not have to come back into some of those shadowy things again. For example, like Jamie's talking about, when we're feeling triggered, we're not going to just look at why we're triggered and how that triggered us. We're actually going to look at what we can do about it next time so that we don't continue to have the same trigger. Part of the reason we also do it in a 13-month class is so that you can hold space for transformation. Transformation often will happen like for 3 months, you'll be digging in it. And then for 3 months, you're feeling relief in it. And then for 3 months, you're digging in it again. And so there's this
Mm-hmm.
constant taking 5 steps forward, 2 steps back, 5 steps forward, two
Mm-hmm.
steps back. We also do our personal programs with 13 women who've all agreed to rise together. They've all agreed to be in this journey together. And that allows the power of clarity to happen much faster. And
Mm-hmm.
then, on our 13-month, we really call that our integration month. So usually that is the month where we allow the integration of all these beautiful things that we've done for 12 months to really
Mm-hmm.
come to place. And so the last 3 months of a 13-month program in our program with Priestess Path, there's a pulling away. You had this solid foundation of sisterhood for 13 months where
Mm-hmm.
you knew you could go to these 13 women and they were going to support you, hold you, and help you grow. And so we don't want to just pull that energy away quickly. We want to
Mm-hmm.
pull that energy away slowly so that you have time to integrate your soul back into its own place and not connected and intertwined in this spider web of 13 women who are all
Standing
rising
on
at the
your
same time.
and standing on your own, because by the time you get to that point, you've really discovered who you truly are. You have a deeper knowledge of who you are, why you're here, and how you're going to go into the world to be who you were meant to be. And so at that point you feel it's kind of like gestation, you're like a woman having a baby. You're in that womb, you're a baby in the womb growing, and you're learning and you're having those experiences. And then when you're born, and then you're having a couple of months of, integration. And then that final integration in the 13th month is just a solid knowing of who you are now and after that transformational year that you had, and being able to stand fully in your power. And it's just very important to have that length of and breadth of time to process, because everybody's different.
Right.
Everybody processes at a different rate.
And I think a lot of times, we don't talk about that fourth trimester, but when you are actually living in the divine feminine, when you are actually
Hmm.
pregnant, you have the first trimester, you have the second trimester, you have the third
Hmm.
trimester, and then
Yes,
you literally have the fourth trimester. I mean,
that's
you're
right.
you're learning how to be a new mom, you're learning how to nurse a baby,
Um,
you're learning how to do diaper
you
changes, you're learning
transform yourself.
how to sit on this bed when everything hurts because you've just birthed a baby. Like you're spending 6 weeks of your body getting back together, and it takes a full 9 months to 13 months for your
Hmm.
body to even heal from having a baby, and it takes 2 years for your hormones to get normal. So we don't want to spend 9 months and act like that's it, because it's not. There is that fourth trimester of integration, of learning how to be all that I am now. And
Hmm.
so, we like to use that. Our path to priestess specifically is for women looking for transformation, women who are wanting to experience energetic clearing, Reiki, breath work, movement. This really is for the woman who says, I no longer want to stay stuck. You know,
Mhm.
Stacy and Jamie at Peace Out Witches, they were talking about how I should be spending this time clearing out things. I don't even know what to clear out. I don't even know what to call in. I don't even know how to do those things. That might be Path to Priestess. That might be an opportunity for you to say yes to yourself.
Mhm.
The last thing I want to mention really quick about Path to Priestess is I hear all the time women say things like, oh, I couldn't possibly afford that. Oh, I couldn't possibly give 13 months to that. Oh, that's way too long. I want to say it didn't take you 9 months to get to where you're at. It didn't take you 9 months to get stuck, be triggered, living in survival, be exhausted. It took you a long time to get to that point. And
Mhm.
a lot of times in motherhood, we think we couldn't possibly take something more from our family for ourselves. But
Mhm.
if you don't take something possibly from your family and give to yourself 2 or 3 times a month in 13 months, you're not going to be the same at the end. You're going to burn out. You're going to live in survival. You're going to be exhausted. You're not going to have anything left to give. And you're going to get at some point in your motherhood to the point where you look at a friend and you say, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired. I'm broken.
Mhm.
I don't have anything left to give.
Mhm.
And that is part of why we have designed Path to Priestess for 13 months, for the reason that women need other women. They need sisterhood. You need time for yourself. You need time to process through all the things that you don't have time to process through because you're a mom,
Mhm.
because you have a baby suckling on your boob, because you're changing diapers and you're in the thick of toddlerhood and preschoolhood and drop-offs and pickups and drive here and drive there. And what I'd like to say is that you are worth it. In fact, you are the number one worth it, because if you're not worth it, then how are you going to look at your kids in the eye and say, kid, you live your best life? Because you're not living your best life, because you're not willing to give yourself the thing that you know you need most. No
Mhm.
vacation, no anything is going to give you what something like Path to Priestess is going to give you. And it doesn't have to be my program. Go do it somewhere else if you want.
That's right.
If you don't feel like Jamie and Stacy are the coaches and mentors for you, no problem. But if you are on this journey, you want support, you want guidance, you want mentorship, you are done living in survival and being stuck, and you want to say yes to you, then I would suggest checking out our Path to Priestess program,
Mhm.
because it is 13 months to awakening. It is 13 months coming back to yourself. It is 13 months of you saying yes to finding your inner magic. It's 13 months of you saying yes to sit in circle with 13 other women, holding space for yourself and others, and saying yes to being different at the end of that 13 months. Yes to being fuller and brighter and happier and living in your joy. And when Jamie and I first started Peace Not Perfection Academy, we both had come to each other and we're like, we're tired.
Mhm.
I'm not sure I can do this for 18 years. Mama, help. And
Mhm.
so, we were circling with women and their daughters and our daughters, and these women were coming to us feeling the same way we were coming, feeling the same
Mhm.
way we were feeling, and we knew we needed to do something. We
Mhm.
knew we needed to give 3, 4 hours twice a month to just pouring into us. And by doing that, over 5 years, we designed our Path to Priestess program, a journey into the archetype of you, a journey into breath work, into somatic movement, a journey into coming back to you. So, if this is something that sounds interesting and you want to learn more about it, we always have a link down below. Our Path to Priestess program opens seasonally around the equinox of each year, and it is really your coming back to becoming, to yourself, to a journey back to your womb, a journey back to your yoni. We're doing yoni activations, meditations, breath work, movement. There's all kinds of juicy, beautiful things in there. But really, what you're doing is you're saying yes to you, saying yes to 13 months of living in your joy,
Mm-hmm.
of waking up every day and knowing that I can tackle anything that comes in front of me because
Mm-hmm.
I have 13 sisters behind me who are helping me process emotion, helping me process grief, and helping me remember who I was before I was just a mom.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not a mom, still for you. We're going to melt
Absolutely.
identities that no longer work for you. We're going to loosen timelines that you're calling in, and we're going to soften you back into your heart space.
Mm-hmm. And activate that divine feminine. So many of us come out of childhood with no clue what the divine feminine archetypes feel like within us because we never had the opportunity to fully live them
Mm-hmm.
because we came out of childhood broken.
Yeah.
And so that's survival mode. And so this program will allow you to have the experience of your own activation of the divine feminine archetypes within you. And it becomes a beautiful thing because then your life will be in more flow.
Yeah.
Your
And
thoughts will
I
be clearer.
haven't had one woman start Path to Priestess who's left sad she joined.
Right.
Every woman who comes through Path to
Mhm.
Priestess leaves more
Full,
solid,
full, just filled.
more joyful. And they have an opportunity to spend time in sisterhood and just coming back to themselves. So often in motherhood and wifehood and life, we're taught to give everything. And this is an opportunity to give back to yourself and give back to the person that you're becoming and wanting to be.
Hmm.
And I think oftentimes the world teaches us that we're not worth it. I'm not worth $300 a month. I couldn't possibly take that from my family. But if you're not worth $300 a month, your family's not going to have you 6 months from now, 1 year from now, 3 years from now, because you're going to be tired, broken, and burned out. You're not going to have anything more to give. This is an opportunity to give back to yourself all those times you didn't have to give to yourself. It's an opportunity to say yes to you, yes to your journey, and yes to becoming a better mom, a better woman, and more fully in the divine feminine that you're supposed to be. Because we really do live in a masculine world where we're taught to live in a masculine way. And then our husbands are like, hey, I need you to be this. And you're like, I don't know how to be that. No one ever taught me how to be that. I only know how to survive.
Hmm.
Also, the energies that are coming into this fire horse, we're starting our next Path to Priestess on April 1st, and the alignment of the planetary energies for that are going to fire you up and allow you to have growth that you couldn't imagine. So, this really is a perfect time for
Hmm.
the alignment of that.
So
So,
I want to talk before we leave. I want to talk about how you could use this energy this month, the energies of this month in a very practical way, because I think it's always nice to have steps or something to pull from. So creating a ritual around each month. So this month we talked about the energies of it. So if you're one that likes to journal, you can sit with your journal and ask yourself, what identity am I shedding? What roles no longer fit? What patterns and habits do I have that I'm ready to release? Those are easy things to journal and discuss with yourself. And then if you have a long list and it seems overwhelming, circle a few. Circle a few that you're willing to work on this year. It does not have to be, I need to change my whole identity this year. It is literally just circle a few that feel the strong that call in the strongest to you. And then when you're going into this month as well, instead of looking at your calendar and looking at your goal sheet or your wishes that maybe you did in December, let's shift it to, how do I want this year to feel in my body? What
mhm.
pace what pace of this year will actually sustain me because you're the right driver of the horse. You can
Mhm.
steer the horse and you get to set the pace. So really, like, are you ready to like jump right in and go as fast as you can? Great. If you're feeling that I am not ready for that, great. But be intentional and ask yourself, what am I here to embody this year? What would I like to embody this year? Healing, leadership, a new business, peace, whatever it is. What do you want to embody? And what we mean by embody is live fully, mind, body, spirit. It could be one
Mhm.
word. Make a list, circle the word that calls to you the most. And the fire year is going to allow you to be more intentional because it's going to follow your intention. And then remember that you're in control. If all of this seems like too much for you that we've discussed today, just light a candle, journal, and create a sacred space. Like, it could be as simple as that for February. And be aware. Be aware of what comes up because your shadow is going to be illuminated. So give yourself an opportunity to grow from when the shadow is illuminated and what you notice about yourself and what
Mhm.
patterns keep reoccurring.
Well, and if you're feeling stuck, drained in survival, you're feeling like, what is this embodying? What does that mean? If these are
Mm,
things that you're not sure about, I mean, get support, find a mentor, a guide, a
mm,
coach. There are many programs that are called Priestess Path, and really the Priestess Path is a journey back to yourself. So,
mhm.
if you aren't sure where to go or what support to call in, so
Okay.
if you're wanting to live your life in more ceremony, ritual, you're just wanting to call in, learn more about the moon energies each month, learn more about how to call ceremony and ritual into your life, or more about living in the archetype of the divine feminine, that is where Path to Priestess is going to be for you. It is 13 months, but it's 13 months of coming back to yourself. We only meet
Mhm.
22 circles in that 13 months. So some months it's only one circle. And really, it's about you moving with your body, learning how
Mhm.
to get out of your mind, and having at the end of 13 months 13 tools to help you live in ceremony, to help you live present, and to help you be able to process through trauma, triggers, and the things that no longer support us. You get one
Mhm.
on one coaching, guidance, and mentoring with Jamie and me. And you also receive classes, meditations, practices, and a in-person via Zoom live circle where you get to build and bond with 13 women who also agreed to do this. Our Path to Priestess really is a coming back to your inner magic, and it's an energetic space and time of you saying, I'm no longer putting myself second.
Mhm.
I'm putting myself first. That means I am going to take 22 days in
Mhm.
13 months where I get a babysitter and I prep for my kids to not be with me and I get to say yes to me. To me. And by saying yes to me, I get to say yes to 13 other women that I'm helping them say yes to them because I showed up for myself. Because I stopped putting myself aside and stopped feeling like I needed to give everything to everyone else. And I took a deep breath and gave it to myself. And what that did was it gave me more energy to give to my kids. It gave me more embodiment and more life. And that is what this fire horse is about. It's about life. It's about bringing in the energy so that you don't have to live exhausted and in survival. It's about
Mhm.
bringing in ritual and ceremony. It's about sitting quiet and waking up to yourself and your timeline and the
Mhm.
shifts that are within you. So take this time, allow it to soften you, release all that's draining you and no longer serving you. And if you feel like you can't do these things on your own, get a guide, a coach, a mentor, or come onto our Path to Priestess program and give yourself the opportunity to walk in the timeline that is of your highest good.
Mhm.
Have fun
Yeah.
with it. Enjoy it. The energies are intense, but they're also meant to really shift things in you. So bring in some of that quiet, that journaling, and allow yourself to just really be rested in this winter so that as spring comes, you can blossom and can, be like a flower.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
All right.
Love it. Yeah.
Hopefully, you enjoyed this energetic talk on February and learning a little bit about our path to Priestess that again starts in April of 2026 and again seasonally after that. We hope
Mm-hmm.
you will join us, check us out, and if you'd like to learn more, check the link below. We always love when you share with your sisters and when you comment below. Let us know what you'd like us to do next week's podcast topic on. And we hope that you have had a wonderful